Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nasteva, 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 Katiranyataha. Jai Shri Gurudeva ki, Jai Shri Swami Prabhupada ki, Jai Shri Gokur Swami Maharaja ki, Jai Shri Bhakta Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada ki, Jai समस्त रूपानु गुरे गुरु वर्ग की जय सपार्षद गौर हरि की जय गौर नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय श्री श्रीराध हरमंजू की जय श्री श्रीराध हरमंजू की जय श्री गोकुल भगवान की जय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल हरि बोल Hare Krishna. Bandhav pranams everyone. Thank you so much to our gurus and to our very kind hosts. Pranams. And also to Nandita ji for requesting, and to Gokul and Anupama ji for requesting me to come here. It's been a long time. Many moons have passed. I was here a few lifetimes ago with Prem Pradeep Brahmachari. And so, looking forward now. So I want to first offer my pranams to beloved Gurudev. We are all our Gurudev's children here, one way or the other, yes. We are here under the grace and shelter of Shishima Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Swami Maharaj, Srila Gurudev. So I was especially remembering him and his causeless mercy today. And I was meditating on this contemplation of his grace, whatever potency, you could say, or whatever grace of bhakti that may enter within us that comes from him. The last few days I've been meditating on arti, how we offer lamps or a candle, and I was thinking how, whatever bhakti we have is like a candle coming from the sun of our Guru's bhakti, which is like the sun. Your Guru Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj, our Guru Maharaj, they're all emissaries of that divine sun of transcendental love, ultimately coming from Srimati Radhika. And so it's important to remember our source, our roots, and so that is our Gurudev. So I was thinking of that. But in life we also have Diksha and Shiksha Guru. We have different gurus in life. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes different kinds of gurus. And he also describes how they all come from Lord Chaitanya in one way. Vande Guru Nisha Bhakta Misha Misha Avatarakam Tat Prakasham Chatak Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangikam. And our Gurudev, he would say often that Lord Chaitanya, he is the root Guru. It's very confusing, Guru Tattva, anyhow, right? So sometimes we'd say Lord Chaitanya is our root Guru, and then we always know Lord Nityananda is our root Guru. And then sometimes we hear Srimati Radhika is our root Guru, so who is the root? And Gurudev would say, people had this question, especially he was preaching to disciples of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Can I have love for him? Can I accept him like a guru? And he would say, with love your heart expands, it doesn't contract. And you have your mother, you have your father, you have your aunt, you have your uncle. And Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj to you, he told this very sweet story. And he said Guru is one, something like that, along those lines. So, but anyhow, we have Diksha and Shiksha. But Guru is someone that you don't take in a ritual or doesn't accept you in a ritual. It's more a offering of the heart. No need texting. No, I'm joking. No need. I'll give you a... Oh, for her. Okay. That's very nice. Oh, very nice. Very sweet. Thank you. Thank you. I thought you were taking notes. It's very sweet. But I used to do that seva. I would type during class. Or then the class would be ready. So thank you. I joke with sometimes people, I say, no need to take notes because nowadays everything's AI. You can just get the transcript like that. But this is a very nice service. Thank you. I say actually if we're doing service in Harikatha, this is the best. So Jai. Sevak. Okay. So sorry for the introduction. Interruption. Yes.
Yashomatina used to do. He tried to get the AI to do it because it's Sanskrit and everything.
So there's some new innovations that are getting much better.
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing like the ones that do 146 languages. They're picking up Sanskrit, Hindi, Bengali to some degree. But actually, because I've been doing this for 12 years, and so I've seen the progress being pretty rapid. And it's nice because it's distilling the potency of meditation and realization, because knowledge is cheap now. Knowledge is cheap. You know, the collective knowledge of the human mind is all in the palm of the hand of AI. And so it's the power of meditation and realization and transformation. So anyhow, Hare Krishna. So I was meditating on Guru as sun and Guru as moon, and how Guru as sun gives us enlightenment and Guru as moon gives us love, mother and father. So offering pranam to our Dikshas and Shiksha Gurus. I will go forward, glorifying Lord Chaitanya. It's Goura Purnima Eve. So in our Western religion, we Christmas Eve. So also in our Sanatana Dharma tradition, we do celebrate the Eve, but we call it Adivas. Adivas, it means the day before the pre-party. And it's good, it's this intention setter. And I don't know, I think Christmas Eve was always better than Christmas, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Expectation, there you go.
Right.
What did Santa,
rug.
what did Santa Devi, you know, what did Mrs. Santa tell Papa Santa to put under the Christmas tree and say it was sent by Santa? Who buys the presents in this house? But people take turns. This is not proper. Senior cannot give the mala to the junior. So I'll take it and give it to Tulsi Devi. Okay?
Have you offered to Thakur?
Yes. Just
See? Just came from Thakur.
So you can wear it and then give it. Look at that. I said, Anupam, will mala be ready for class? I said, Anupam has many, many, many years of practice making gardens. Okay. Why don't you can, there's a space for you here. Right by me. Okay. Jai. And Mridanga Dev can move. Okay, good. Jai. Okay, Hare Krishna. Alright, so introduction complete. So then the other thing I was thinking about before classes, you know, in America we have this culture of freedom of speech, so if that's okay, I can speak freely.
Really?
please do.
It's also nice, you know, sometimes we are bound in the rigidity of our institutions and our ecclesiastical orders and our bondage. I was thinking just before class that the nice thing about why Bhakti Devi, you know, Bhakti Devi decided to come to the West because we believe in freedom, that she can be free and express herself. Bhakti Thakur said like that. And one day, you know, people from all over the world will embrace Bhakti culture. And when they embrace it, how will you hold them back? How will you hold their Bhakti back? Because religion is always fighting with the more mystical, those who really want to approach God in the mystic union. Bhakti yoga, actually, if you look at a lot of dictionary kind of scholarly presentations, what is Bhakti? They call it divine mystic union in love with God, mystic love. But the dams and dikes and the walls of religious institutions often are at war with that current of genuine mystic love for God, which is called Bhakti Yoga. Yoga means union, and Bhakti through devotion. You can approach God through many paths, but the Bhakti Yoga is the mystic union for love, and it's a very mystical practice. Why? Because there's meeting and separation, there's appearing and disappearing. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes it as, in the mystic trance, the Lord will approach you, will appear before you, and as you run to embrace him, he'll disappear. And then this process goes on and on and on. It's a dance until you're ultimately entering his eternal dance. So this is something I was thinking about just before class. Like, it's nice, you know, Bhakti Devi should decide to come to the West because we are free, we value freedom. And once that seed of Bhakti is planted in the West and spreads through the hearts of devotees, then she will be free, no one will be able to hold her back. We look at it in the history of religions, in the history of Indian culture, how so many people try to stifle the development of Bhakti in the name of ritual, in the name of orderliness. Lord Chaitanya himself, when he took sannyas and he went to Varanasi, the group, the ecclesiastical order of sannyasis, ridiculed him. They were very upset. They said, he's a saintly, beautiful person. he came to the royal assembly. Actually, Bhakti Thakur mentions this story when he talks about the society of Gauranga. And he talks about this story. And so Lord Chaitanya came to the great spiritual city Varanasi, one of the greatest spiritual cities in the world. And he came and he sat in a very simple place, actually an unclean place, like where everyone enters and walks through and then push their shoes off to the side. And Lord Chaitanya sat there, and there were, how many sannyasis was it described to be? Thousands and thousands of sannyasis. But they saw that he was the moon amongst very dim stars. There's some bright stars in the sky, and there's some stars that are very faint. Lord Chaitanya sat there as a bright moon. And so the head of all the sannyasis came and welcomed him and gave him a higher position. And he spoke with him and he said, everything you're doing is, I see you're good, you're a young sannyasi, okay, but you're too sentimental. Why are you all dancing and singing? This is not proper. Devotion must be regulated. You must hold back. You must. God is there to be kept in the distance and worshipped while you love everything else in life. You focus on everything else in life and you accept his existence, but especially you should not develop this sentiment of devotion. They didn't like it. So we see even in Lord Chaitanya's time. What to speak of that? Before he took sannyas, one of the reasons he took sannyas, he made the decision to do it because his own students were criticizing him. His own students, who loved him, because how could you not love God, appeared as the perfect devotee. Lord Chaitanya is God, taking the incarnation of the perfect devotee. How can you not love him? His own students, because this is the nature of pride and ego and thinking that you know so much. As we've seen people, I'm sure, trying to evolve beyond that, but love is there, but then also, the soul's pure essence is love, but then the waters get muddy, and the mud is our ego and pride and thinking we know so much. So his own students criticized him when he was expressing the sentiments of bhakti, yoga, the sentiment of pure love and devotion towards the Lord, and he was saying, Gopi, Gopi. To this day in his own mission, it's like, don't talk about the gopis. So, Lord Chaitanya's own students were saying, what are you doing? Chant Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. So in our line, Srila Narayan Maharaj came. So we can say Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. And we can think about Gopi, Gopi, Radhe, Radhe. This is called perfect synthesis. Right? Srila Narayan Goswami Maharaj came.
Narayan came.
Yes.
Told us to chant Gopi, Gopi.
Told us to chant Gopi, Gopi. So you see Lord Chaitanya's own life. And then when Lord Chaitanya came back from Gaya, when he got Gopal Mantra, he became bhavuk, full of the sentiments of love and devotion. And then everyone said he had gone mad. The town people who loved him dearly. You hear the stories of his childhood. Everyone loved him dearly.
Except for Gadadhar.
Except for those who still had some contrary aspect in their relationship. Gadadhar Pandit, incarnation of Radharani, who is like the principal in the school of the gopis, and Lord Chaitanya took the tutorship of Lalita and Vishaka, Sri Damodar and Ramananda Roy, for those who know the background. In childhood, Mahaprabhu was very naughty and a prankster, but he was also a scholar, because Krishna is a cowherder, so he wasn't such a scholar in his childhood. Later on, Bhagavad Gita, he spoke great wisdom. But as a child, Krishna wasn't a scholar, he was a cowherder. But Mahaprabhu, he took birth and he was a pandit, he was Brahmin. Brahmins, we naturally have this, I am a Brahmin, I am a Sharma, I am a Bhattacharya. Right? So this is natural. But Mahaprabhu, he would give so much, he was such a scholar. And when he would be walking on the pathways of Bengal, for those who've been to Mayapur, Navadvip, it's very beautiful, very sweet. We were just there for a week, and especially we went to Naimisharanya in Moda Drumadweep. Moda Drumadweep by the Jalangi River, sister of Ganga. It's just a forest, tropical forest, beautiful pathways, it's very sweet. Vrindavan is disappearing, like the original Vrindavan is disappearing, but the moods of Navadvip are still there. You're walking on the pathway and it's very beautiful, very serene, very sweet. So if someone would see Mahaprabhu coming, Pandit Nimai, Gadadhar would see him coming and think, oh no, and how he's going to be a logician and argue with me. So Mahaprabhu's boy was like that, fierce logician.
Cross to the other side of the road.
Without her Pandit would cross the other side of the road. And the devotees would pray, when will Mahaprabhu become Bhavuk? When will he become manifesting his lila of devotion? And then, so when he came back from Gaya, he received Gopal Mantra from Ishvara Puripad, and then he became mad in this love and devotion. And then the regular people all thought he had gone crazy, and the devotees rejoiced. The devotees rejoiced, and everyone else thought he had gone mad. Someone has come? Go let them introduce. Huh? Hare Krishna. Mataji. Okay, so in what do we call intermission? Okay? We'll let her come itself, or we just keep continue. Okay, Mataji and Peter, you can sit here for that. Alright, we need space.
No.
Yeah. Where will you sit? So here's one nice little song. Goura, Ramanand Roy Prabhuji ki jai. We were speaking about Swarup Damodar and Ramanand Roy. Please sit here, Prabhuji.
No, go there.
No, here's space. Please. Mataji can sit here, Prabhuji can sit here, please.
No, I'm alright. I'm sitting
No.
there.
I've never ever stood there in my whole life.
This is like it's like Lord Vishnu could sleep here. Like
Yeah,
Lord
yeah.
Vishnu is 10 feet long, he could sleep on the 10 feet. Take one asana.
No, I'll be like.
See, now we have to build you a bigger temple in your home.
No, it
A wing.
expands.
We'll build this another story. Okay? I'll start collecting for this.
You keep telling
And
stories.
the end of the program, I'll say, okay, everyone give some donations so we can build a new story in Gokul's house. Only for a classroom. Okay?
I already designed it like one big hall all the way down to the back of the house.
Yeah, very good. And then we can all do Sankirtan on the sea and look out to Jagannath Puri.
Yeah.
Very special thing I heard. You go to the ocean here, you get to look towards Puri.
If you can see the chapter.
I didn't know which direction it was though. I was thinking I had to take shelter. So you walk straight down and you kind of look. That's what I was doing. I walked straight down last night and just looked.
You see Dragoness?
I did not see Jagannath. I have to take your shelter next time. Get really good binoculars. Really good. It's possible. So Mataji has a seat. Hare Krishna. So we're celebrating Goura Purnima Eve. I'm talking about how devotion is, how to balance the regulated path with the spontaneous path. So Lord Chaitanya decided to take sannyas. When he came back from Gaya, the regular townspeople thought he had gone mad. They preferred the previous Nimai, but the devotees rejoiced. So we see this, we were discussing how Bhakti Devi came to the West and she became very happy because the West has this tradition of freedom. So Bhakti Devi in the West, you see with our Gurudev, everyone is wonderful, everything is beautiful, but especially with Swami Prabhupada as well, with the Western devotees, you see how they embraced it and they were not held back. It was very beautiful. So Mahaprabhu, he took so much more to discuss and understand about this topic, but moving forward. I was saying in the beginning how I appreciate if with your lenience, I'm in your home, so you can tell me to stop or not, right? So freedom of speech should be regulated as well. First instruction by Rupa Goswami is control your speech. So there's place for everything, but Bhakti Devi should, have her own free will and her own free reign and flow. And Lord Chaitanya actually, there's a beautiful description of how Lord Chaitanya told Bhakti Devi, who is ultimately Swarup Shakti, the Lord's internal potency. So Lord Chaitanya told Bhakti Devi in the form of his mercy, Kripa Shakti. And he told her that I give you full permission and actually instruction to give bhakti to whomever you desire with or without my permission. I give you complete freedom. Wherever you desire, bhakti can go. And we see this with Jagai Madai, how Lord Chaitanya became angry and wanted to chastise and punish them. But Guru Tattva, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, even though they tried to kill him, Marke, even though he was Marda means to kill someone or to beat someone, to hurt someone, which would be a more grievous offense than to try to do that to the Lord. But Lord Nityananda said, no. Give him mercy instead. So Marke Prem De. Emon Dayal Tunaire, who could be more merciful? Avatar Shar, Goura Avatar. They are the essence and the most sweet. Parama Karuna Bahudri Jan, Vidai Goura Chandra. So, Bhakti Devi should be free. It's not that it's not regulated, but she herself, in her own mission, should have free reign to develop the devotees who are her constituents, who are her children of her own accord. And that's how we see. Bhaktivinoda Thakur predicted that this movement would spread. And he would say, I see that day coming when Bhakti will be a world faith, without boundaries, without the safeguards and the dams and dikes and the walls and institutions. So it's very beautiful to see that day going. Someone this morning sent me a video. It's very interesting. There's many things are being woven together. Where we were just staying in Oman, the father, the patriarch of the clan, he sent me a video of a special ops inner security guard of Putin from 30 years ago, who became a brahmachari and was sitting on a Vyasasana with a beautiful garland glorifying Mahaprabhu and speaking Bhagavad Gita. And before, he's KGB.
It's amazing.
Special ops KGB, and now where is he? Sitting on a beautiful wooden Vyasasana with a beautiful garland speaking about Krishna Prem. Freely, with confidence, by the power of Bhakti. We see in Vrindavan especially. In Vrindavan, I'll give you another example. In America we have two main languages, English and Spanish. In Vrindavan we have two main languages, Hindi and Russian. It's true. Not Hindi and English, Hindi and Russian. English is for signs, Russian is for devotees. Right? You see the sign, it'll say Hindi and they'll say English. But if you go to the shops, primary, maybe even Russian will be bigger than Hindi. Right? Because they have, and they were oppressed for so long, but when they embraced Bhakti, we know one great preacher, Bhakti Vigyan Swami, he's building a beautiful, gorgeous retreat center, devotee, like a temple in Govardhan, about 500-600 meters from Govardhan, at Charan Bahari, that's the tail end. We went there, because he's friends with our mission, and very beautiful what they're doing. Rupanuga Seva Ashram, Rupanuga Ashram, and if you go there and look at it and you see how is Bhakti Devi manifesting her own form without being controlled by the ecclesiastical orders that even Mahaprabhu saw in his time were trying to regulate it. Why in his temple he has kunjas for the Sakis, he has kunjas for the six Goswamis with great respect, with great honor, showing the moods of Braj, the devotion of Braj, celebrating it with great honor and great respect. And so I was thinking about this here, how Bhakti Devi is spreading throughout the whole world, but she also especially we see, this is also a natural thing. When a mother has new children, she'll have lots of love for them naturally. So Bhakti Devi has many children, but in Indian culture, her children have been there for thousands of years. So sometimes older children, once you become very older, then whether you give attention and love and honor to the mother or not, there's no guarantee. And we see this in the path of Bhakti as well, because Gyan, knowledge, and Vairagya, renunciation, are her two sons. But when they neglected her, they became old and weak. And there's many Gyan paths that focus on knowledge, and there's many Vairagya paths that focus on renunciation. But if they don't take shelter of their mother Bhakti, who's the real mother of all devotion and love, and the merit that you gain in any path, whether it's impersonalism or any, without Bhakti you cannot make one step in advancement. So we see Gyan and Vairagya, when they again took her shelter, they became youthful again. This is always told in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, has the story of Gyan, Vairagya, and Bhakti. So this has been our introductory meditation, how Bhakti Devi should be free. Now we're not saying whether we are regulated or unregulated. We must be regulated by our parents and by Bhakti. She is regulating us. But she herself, in her own mission, should not be regulated by her juniors and her children. Her mood should be free. So we see how our beloved Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he was preaching in Jhansi after sannyas. And why I'm reflecting on this also is because I saw this very recently, in a very small reflection in my life. They say, there's one saying I just heard from the the Vaishnavas in Bandhav, at the base of a candle it's dark. You light a candle, and at the base it's dark. And then there's a Hindi saying, Gar ki jogi jong angaon ka sid, which means that, you know, in your own village or in your own home, you have no value. So when Srila Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada, amongst his own godbrothers, he was the grahasta, he would donate to the temple sometimes from his pharmacy. You know, if you know someone with like a pharmacist, right? Oh, he's a pharmacist. And, you know, and sometimes he gives us treatments. Big sannyasis, preaching all over. And bhakti is for India. Even though Bhaktivinoda Thakur's desire was to go to the West, even though Chaitanya Charitamrita says the sun will go to the West, even though Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada sent his emissaries to the West, still, we go to the West to bring people to the East. Our Vishwambar Prabhu jokes that from San Francisco, he said it's like one of the first times he's seen in his life and probably in history that money came from India to go to the West to buy our New York ashram. That's our Prabhuji, right? He said, I bet that's like one of the first times in history that money that was in India went to America to buy a temple in America. Because bhakti should also be in the West. Bhakti Devi likes it in the West. Why in the West? It's in our blood. If you try to take a freedom away from an American, they will die or kill to protect it. So anyhow, Bhakti Devi said, yes, very good, must be made. Now I can do whatever I want. So, I was just in Oman, and just the point is that very little sadhu sangha, very little preachers there, Islamic culture, but very sattvic in that country specifically, very clean. The whole country is colored white, like pure white. And it was the vision of the Sultan Qaboos, who renovated, because in the 50s it was a desert with camels. It was complete desert, but he had good trades, made good relationships with the British royalty and so forth, and they developed the land through oil and so forth. But he conceptually designed the whole country, and especially Muscat, the capital, and then there's the neighboring city over a hill. It's spotless, pure, white, you know, and everyone is genuinely aspiring towards God, towards the divine, 5 times a day offering their prayers in a very good, pure way. But going there, you see the power of how Bhakti Devi, you know, a few drops of bhakti in a desert are life. But even a drop of water, where there's so much water, is useless. So, this was my meditation. Why spend? Because our life is valuable, because it's for our Guru. For me, my life is, since I was 10 years old, my Guru said, this life, you know, you become a brahmachari, give it to me. And so, over the course of 8 years, with the dance of back and forth playing with our destiny, ultimately his desire, you could say, won out, and I became just a madman living in the temple, monk. But the point is that you see this, the power of bhakti, that even a few drops in the desert are transformative. But if there's no appreciation for it, even though it's all present with you, you're jaded. So you see this sometimes. And then I was thinking about how Lord Chaitanya, before his disappearance, Advaita Acharya sent him a note, a very mysterious note. Hatabikai Chaul. He said, all the rice has been sold in the marketplace, and there's no more demand. So there's no need for you to continue giving your supply. In other words, he said a very mysterious, like a sonnet or quatrain, whatever, 4 lines, right? Do you know the specifics? Very mysterious thing Advaita Acharya wrote, because he was the one who called Lord Chaitanya. So he was also the one who, at the end of inviting a deity, you also offer them permission, because otherwise it's not proper honor. Like, how do we do it? For example, we honor Kadashi from Brahma Muhurta to Brahma Muhurta, and then we take Padan after worshipping her. So in the same way, the Acharya called Lord Chaitanya, and at the end, in Puri he said, all the rice is sold in the marketplace, and there's no more demand. But where did the demand go? The demand came in America. The demand's coming in Australia. The demand's coming so many places. So now in many ways, in many forms, like our Vaishnavas would say, Swami Prabhupada is present in thousands of forms now. not in one form. Shri Gurudev is present in thousands of forms now, not only one. Gurudev would say, I will come again, many forms. So, in this way, Bhakti Devi is very happily, joyfully doing her work. And this will continue. I've seen in my life that people can have everything, but Bhakti is such a thing that it cannot be grasped and it cannot be bought with all the wealth of the world. You cannot buy Bhakti if you're the king of the entire world. Oh, but I can give charity and people like charity. If I give enough money to the sadhus, I can buy Bhakti. You can get blessings, you can become king of this world, and you can become a king of heaven. But you don't get Bhakti. Bhakti is all rights reserved. And Bhakti is not gained through opulence, Bhakti is gained through complete Atma-niveda, complete offering of the heart. So, I've rambled enough. We're going to come to our topic. I usually have this problem that I have a topic I want to speak of, but it's a sacred topic, and even to get up to that door, you have to dance up to it, and then the time can pass. So, what I really want to speak about is, we say, I've heard this many times from Sri Gurudev, that there are three eternal substances, or vastus. A vastu is like a indestroyable substance, an eternal substance. And that is, in English, love, lover, and the beloved. In Sanskrit we say bhakti, bhakta, bhagavan. Love, bhakti, bhakta, lover, and bhagavan, beloved. These are the three eternal substances. You can ask a physicist and they'll say, no, but there's this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. 6 elements, and 8 elements, and 24 elements. But our Gurudev would say that there are 3 eternal elements, 3 eternal vastu, and that is love, lover, and beloved. Bhakti, bhakta, bhagavan. Bhakti is love, bhakta is the devotee, and bhagavan is God. In English we say love, lover, and beloved. But the Vedic tradition teaches us that that really means bhakti, bhakta, bhagavan. And there's so many things to touch on the subject, but in this world, I like to simplify things also, because many Bhakti Devi likes to share with new people, those who are newer to the path, so to put it in simple terms. Our Gurudev would say that love is an eternal abiding substance, and it resides within the constitutional nature of every soul. There was never, like Krishna says in the Gita, there was never a time it came into being, never a time it will go out of being. Najayate, mriyate, it was never born, will never die. Va kadachin, at any time. Nayang bhutva bhavita vanabhuya, not in the past, not in the future, not in the present. Ajo nitya sasvato, young Purana, is unborn, sasvata, ever youthful, the most ancient and the most youthful. Nahanyate hani yamane sarira, when the body is lost, that soul is not lost, and in the nature of that soul, there is bhakti. There is priti, which is another word, love. Bhaktivinoda Thakur would say that priti, love, is always there. But when we become bahirmukh, no problem. Blanket.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
Okay. When we become bahirmukh, it becomes, bahirmukha means when we turn away from God, it becomes covered. If we think about it from more of like a philosophical point of view, I'm not very good at philosophy, so I can't even say it properly. I was joking in a mind with someone that I'm not a 4 or 5 syllable person. I say like 4+ syllable people, you should be careful around. 1, 2 syllable people, it's easier to trust. No, but I know that's not what you call him. You have a 1 syllable name for him.
Joe.
Josh, Joe.
Joe.
Prabhuji gave the name Yashoda Nandana to a brahmachari. I was like remembering Yashomati Nandana. But then he made his email, and his email is Josh Yoda. My name is Josh, because he's out and working and talking with people and going to Home Depot, and the guy's like, oh, what are you doing? He said, what's your name? Josh. Yoda. Yoda means warrior in Hindi. And Josh is a beautiful name, the enlightened one. So anyhow, Haribol. I was saying that the best words are the shortest words. Because whoever came up with words was thinking, let's make the best ones, the easiest, the simplest. So I was thinking, what are the best words in English? We have love, we have hope, we have faith, we have bliss, we have joy, we have serve. So many, so there's unlimited. But anyhow, from a philosophical point of view, if you think of it this way, Krishna says in the Gita, the soul is the most ancient, and there's the soul and God. Those exist before time, after time, before death of the universe, before youth, after death of the universe, and before the birth of the universe, the soul exists and God exists. Right? This is our philosophy. Before the birth of this body and before the death of this body, the soul exists. And so from the most micro to the most macro, God and the soul exist beyond time and beyond everything we can see with our eyes. And so if love is an eternal existing substance, if love, lover and beloved, if Bhakti, Bhakta, Bhagavan are the three eternal elements from whom everything else manifests, the original element, the undivided element, then how could the original love not be for God? Because in this world, love, lover and beloved plays itself out in a million forms. And we see that in the rasas, the rasa theory. By the combination of man and woman and their love comes children, and then from that madhurya ras, or which is called adi ras, the original mellow of love is the romantic love, the conjugal love. By the conjugation of their love, then there's children. And then there's vatsalya ras, the parental love. And then when the child grows up, then sakya ras. So that's why the highest is madhurya ras, and next is vatsalya ras, parental love, and then next is friendship with friends. Because that's how it happens. Lover and beloved, and from their love children, and then from the children's growth and friendship. Madhurya, Vatsalya, Sakya. And then from that comes Dasya Ras. Why? To manifest your desires, you need many servants. You may take your life, you go and you work, you also have to be a servant. But servant to love. Oh, I love my wife, but I have to work. Right? So then you have Dasya Ras manifest. And then you also have Shanta Ras manifest. That means neutral. You know, the guy you meet on the bus and you're never going to see again. You're neutral. For me, it's like the person you sit next to on the plane. You smile once, but you try not to talk. Because my whole life is based on talking with people. You know, and so on the plane I smile at them, they smile at me, and we mind our business. And then once in a while someone starts talking with you and you think, if they started and they want to hear something. I was flying recently from New York to Las Vegas, and on the flight, the whole flight next to this guy, and then right as we're about to land, this person starts talking with me. Oh, I was in an ashram in Nepal, where are you from? Lives in Brooklyn, can you come see me when you come back to New York? You know, I didn't share his number. You know, I'm sure if we're meant to meet, we'll meet. But anyhow, the point is that's neutral. So all the rasas come from that. But the idea here is, if love is eternal, if the soul is eternal, if God is eternal, if that is our philosophy, then must the original love but not be with any other than God. And therefore we say Bhakti, Bhakta, Bhagavan. Love, lover and beloved. The devotion, the devotee and the Lord. Those are the three eternal essential parts of our existence. From that comes everything. Krishna says, from my energy, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Kammano Buddhirevacha Ahankarite Me Bina Prakriti Rastada. Earth, water, fire, ether, all manifesting in this universe, from the unmanifest to the manifest, from the manifest to the unmanifest, playing itself out throughout endless time. But coming from, so you can end it, no problem. Well, so if anyone's listening, we'll post it on YouTube. There you go. It's not possible. No problem. You can bring it closer. It can be next to Gokul, no problem. There you go. Okay, there you go. Not that close.
Just zoom
Okay, there we go. Okay.
That's good.
Shy. Okay. Now I'm shy. There you go. So, we'll have to get a mic for the camera and then put it back, and I'll get a zoom macro lens on it. Okay, Hare Krishna. So, if this is the case, if we accept this proposition, for the philosophers here, do we accept this proposition? This is our bhakti conception. Because many people say, okay, God exists, but love doesn't exist. And our Gurudev would say, and actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, it's in Jaiva Dharma, the difference between Mayavadis and Vaishnavas is that Vaishnavas believe love is eternal and Mayavadis do not. This is the difference. And if something is eternal, it means it doesn't become eternal in the future. It already is eternal. For something to be eternal, it's not a future proposition, it's an eternal proposition. Krishna says, never was there time in the past, the present, the future, it's not come into being, will not come into being, it is eternal. And so the Mayavadis will say, no, when we realize God, we will merge with God and be God, and the only thing that exists is God. God is the only thing that exists. So the Vaishnavas counter that and say no. And there's been 2,000 years of warfare between philosophers about these points. And the battle is not through swords, but through the pen. Our Gurudev, he would write articles in the Bhagavad Patrika, and then another institution would write another article in their magazine, and they would say, I will sue you. And they would have this warfare back and forth, right? Establishing their perspective. So anyhow, in our opinion, love, lover and beloved, bhakti, bhakta, bhagavan, it's eternal. And that love, when it's covered over, from the marginal point of view, why the soul that we are is in the marginal potency, which means that we're between matter and spirit. Again, this is all very practical, logical philosophy. A lot of times we get caught up in the words and the terminology and the debates around it. But just think of it in a very simple, like a child going to school. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, your teacher tells it to you and then you accept it, okay? So we were in Gurudev's school. So I don't know what's in another school, but I know in Gurudev's school, he says we're the marginal potency. We're between matter and spirit. That's where we are now. And so because we're in that marginal potency between matter and spirit, we can choose to offer our love into matter and turn away from God, or we can choose to redirect it towards God. And Swami Prabhupada, when he came to the West, he didn't say how to, he created a beautiful institution, but what was the flagship voice of that institution? That was back to Godhead. Correct? He created a beautiful institution, but the purpose of the institution is to embody or be a vessel for the message and to continue the message throughout time. That's what an institution is for, though. You should think, like, the only purpose of the Catholic Church or the Protestants, whatever denomination you're in, their only purpose is to maintain the integrity and the purity of the conception throughout time. That's their only purpose. The Bible is always higher than the church. The Gita is higher than any temple. And you can ask that to, you can go to any temple, any pundit, and you say, what's higher, the Bhagavad Gita or the temple? And only if somebody is completely ignorant of Sanatana Dharma would they say that the temple is higher than the Gita. Veda is the highest. Correct? So, the conception is that Gurudev would say, from the marginal potency, if we are looking towards this world, then that love, when it's directing it into this world, then it becomes covered over by all the other layers, all the elements, the micros and the macro. So the universe has these different elements. Our soul becomes covered by what? Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. We think that's the universe, but it's the soul. Then the universe is the playground for the soul. There's no universe without the soul. There's no universe without God. So now earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego has covered the soul so that we can redirect our love away from God. And we direct it into earth, home, and then earth, water, relationships, fire, power, position, air, the intellect, knowledge, space, so many things. It's all bundled up within it. And our bhakti process is simply gradually uncovering those layers by the redirection of our love to God. And someone was asking me earlier today, when I'm doing the archan, so the last few days I've been talking about archan, and the person who was asking me a question, it wasn't even related to archan, but it came up. So I've been talking a lot about archan. And in archan, for those who are following Sanatana Dharma, archan just means how we worship God. And it's a ritual. You do the ritual. I had this question in a grand tower, and I had this question in a living room. And both people asked a similar question, but from different perspectives. So the question is, when we're doing our worship practice, one person asked me, well, how do we, so someone from the background of Islam was asking me, we focus so much on submission to God or surrender to God, but it seems theoretical. And so how do we actually practically surrender to God? And I said, it's very simple. It's just the offering of your time in the archan, in the process. You're doing it 5 times a day through the obeisance. You're doing it through following Ramadan. You're doing it through going to Mecca. This is surrender to God. But I don't have the feeling yet, so don't worry. The feeling comes from the arpana, the offering, the arati. So what do? Our body is now covered by earth, fire, water, air, ether. So what do? We offer some earth. We cook and we offer some food to God. We offer some water. Krishna says, give me a conch shell. Water, pativan pushpam phalantoyam. You offer all these elements. It's a loving offering to God. And then you offer your mind, more subtle, more high. You offer your intelligence, and then the hardest, you offer your ego. Very difficult. And actually, when we offer obeisance to God, we start with offering our ego. That's what means namaha. For those who don't know the meaning of namaha, namaha, my big ma, ego, I namas to you, I offer to you. So we offer our ego, and manmana, we offer our mind. This is in the highest stage, but in the regular, man, mana, bhava, it's the highest culmination. But mind, man, buddhi, ahankar, we also offer to God. So then, someone asked me today this question. Say we're offering arati or we're offering boga. Like every day we're offering some boga and we don't really feel it in our heart. Is it still like a bona fide offering? Right? Oh, today I wasn't really in the mood. So I cooked and this and that, I just put it there, close the door. Whether you ate it or not, there's one example, like someone who had real mood, really powerful mood, was a young boy called Rasikananda. And his father was a doctor, I believe, right? That's how it's described. Mukundavru. So he had to go out and he asked his boy to make the offering. And he said, I don't know the mantras. The boy was just very young. Yeah. So the boy was very young. He said, I don't know, we're talking about, offering it with real mood. And what happens like that. So when the father left and he told the boy to offer, and he said, I don't know mantras. So anyhow, his mother gave him the plate of food. He went and put it on the altar. Kopinati eat. And the boy just said, please eat. My father asked me to give it to you. I have faith. I know you're there. And he wasn't eating. He didn't know the mantras. He didn't know what to do. He said, if you don't eat it, I'll get in trouble. My mom will chastise me. My dad will chastise me. And the offering went on. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. Seeing the simplicity, the innocence of the heart of the child, finally the Lord took the offering and finished the whole plate. And the boy was very happy. Yes, God ate. What did he eat? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. That's all the vastu, the substances, the material vastu we offer. Took the plate back to his mom. She said, why'd you eat all the food? Said, and you ate it on Krishna's plate. Asked me for another plate. And there was a small family, mother, father, and one child. So whatever they cooked, they put on the plate. Because also the Vaishnavas, like in Radhakunj, at least 2 buckets of rice for each Thakurji. At least 2 buckets of dal. Like, don't feed Krishna in a little bowl. It's big Thakurji, big Gurudev, big Prabhupada, big Mahaprabhu. So brahmacharis used to complain, we have to carry 20 buckets down and 20 buckets up for 2 temples. Krishna's not, you're going to eat this big of a plate and you're just a little jiva. And God, the supreme controller, is only going to eat this much. So anyhow, they put all their food on that plate. Now they're going to be hungry. So then he made another offering. The same thing happened. When the father came home that night, he asked how the offering went, and he asked for food. He was hungry. Come back from work all day. How was your day? Good. Where's dinner? There's no dinner today. What do you mean? He's your son. You told him to make the offering. You asked him. So Raghuనందన్, what did he do? He said, you told me to offer. I offered it. He ate it. He didn't believe him. So he said, make another offering. So the mother made another plate, gave it to the boy, put it on the altar, and the father hid. Like we have this sofa here, so he hid behind the sofa. And now Raghuనందన్ is offering and offering and offering and offering, but Krishna's not coming. He's praying, oh Lord, you've eaten, why not eating again? in his heart, the Lord is saying, someone who's doubtful is watching. But he prayed, please take, please take, please take. He's not here, he's not here. So finally Krishna took one laddu, took a bite of a laddu, and his father popped out. I knew it! You have more love for my son than for me. I've been offering to you for so many years, you've never eaten it. And the Lord has half laddu in his hand. There's a Didi with half a laddu in his hand. There's so many beautiful stories of Thakurji like this. So the point is, this is real mood. When the boy is offering it with this real mood, the Lord's accepting. But we should also understand that when we are offering, because we're talking now about the process of going from love, lover, and beloved to really offering our love in a practical way. So that's through the worship process. But even if we're doing it as a ritual, because the Gita, Krishna teaches the ritual. He says, Patram pushpalam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. Offer me a leaf, flower, water, but do it bhakti. I will accept, I will purify you, prayatatmana. Try to do it to me, and I will accept you. Deshamaham samudarta mrityu sangsara sagarat bhavam inachirat parta. I will deliver you from material existence. Te samaham samudharta mrityu sangsara sagarat. Have no doubt in this. If you surrender to me and follow this process of learning to offer your love to me, I will deliver you from material existence. I will not go against your free will. You are part of me, and I value freedom. Gurudev would say that free will is the greatest gift God gives us. And if we can offer that gift to him, what is the better offering? Meaning it's the most sacred thing. There's no higher thing that we possess as a soul than our freedom and our love. But love, if you cannot offer your love freely, if someone is restricting the development, you cannot love God, then this is a sin. So Krishna values that freedom. So he says, Te samaham samudarta mrityu sangsara sagarat. Have no doubt. I will deliver you from material existence, but I will not go against your free will. This is the spell. The spell means, so I want to go into this. I was, again, English, why it came to the West. I was thinking this morning, what is the greatest mantra in English? There's many Sanskrit mantras. There's many Hindi mantras. There's many Buddhist mantras. But the greatest English mantra, anyone can guess? I love you. It's an English mantra, world famous. World famous. In Bengali, it's more complicated mantra. Bengali mantra says, you say, Ami tomake bhalobashi. Ami tomake bhalobashi. I love you. Very complicated. Hindi, I don't even know how to say it. Main tujhse pyar karta hu. Right? English, very simple. One syllables all the way. And short. One syllable, one letter. I. Love you. Love is the biggest. I and you comes within love. Right? We have our Srila Madhavamara. She loves wordplay. Prabhuji also loves wordplay. So anyhow, I and you both are within love. 4 letters, 4 letters. I love you. 3 eternal substances. Love, lover, and beloved. Bhakti, Bhakta, Bhagavan. So this is Archan. Simple. This is the English mantra. So when you do Arti, that's why I said at the beginning of the class, if you give me permission, freedom of speech, I'm a Westerner, so I can speak openly. This is not in any, this is only from my own speculation. Okay? So, I love you, this is our English mantra. World famous English mantra. This mantra runs the whole world. Okay? This mantra, we say Chakravarti. This is the Chakravarti mantra. Chakravarti means that powerful thing that is the hub of existence, that everything spins around. And so what is that? I love you. What is at the center? Priti, love. And the Bhakti, devotees, the Vaishnavas say that is eternal. Those other ones who say love is a means to an end. Many will say love is a means to an end. I was getting criticized, I don't check so often, but it's also coming to the forefront even today. Someone was saying, why are you talking about love? You're a monk. This is not appropriate. This is not Sanatana Dharma. Blah, 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 blah. Book knowledge, nothing. Getting chastised. I said, I am not your follower. With respect, I'm Gurudev's follower. I didn't say like that, but I said, I quoted, Vishnu Puran says this Puran says that. I have one, something that we see in Indian culture, and I learned this from my Shiksha Guru. It's a very good, like they say, a life hack. Once in a while we should learn life hacks, right? So here's a life hack for anyone. How to acknowledge someone without following them. How to acknowledge someone without following them. Because people need to be heard and respected, and so you can acknowledge that. So in Indian culture, when someone asks something of you that you can't follow or don't want to follow, you say yes, 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 yes. You acknowledge it. But you don't follow. And Vaishnavas say, he said, hear everyone, follow no one. Follow one. Your Guru Maharaj, our Srila Gurudev, your Srila Gurudev, all our Gurudevs, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, he would say that the whole world can be standing on one side, and I can be standing alone on the other side, but I only follow my Gurudev and whatever he desires, even if everyone is against me. That's real integrity, real authenticity. So anyhow, whatever anyone may say, Mahaprabhu, people didn't like his approach. Lord Nityananda Prabhu, people even didn't like Lord Nityananda Prabhu's approach even more. He was like extra, like we say in the West. Mahaprabhu still had some self-control, a little bit, sometimes, some shyness. Nityananda Prabhu had no shyness. No shyness whatsoever. He was complete avadut. When Nityananda Prabhu came, so Nityananda was born 12 years earlier. He appeared Ekachakra, and then he went on pilgrimage from 10 to 12 or so. No, when he was 20 or so. I forget. Anyhow, he went on pilgrimage for almost 20 years, something like that. He left at like 10 or 12, right? But the point is, at 32 years of age, he came to Mayapur, met Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was like 20s. So they had like a 12-year age gap. But when Nityananda Prabhu came to Navadvip, if you hear the stories of him, it's like, is that appropriate or not? It's not really. Sometimes you just throw off all his clothes and be running around the streets like he was in his mind like a 3-year-old. And Mahaprabhu would see him and
7 foot tall.
7 foot tall, golden, like a golden mountain. Sonara Parvata Jaina Dhonla Telutai. Can you hear me now? There you go. Like a golden mountain rolling in the dust. That's how he's described. So Mahaprabhu would see him like this, completely in the mood of the cowherd boys, like Balaram. And Mahaprabhu would come and cover him with his cloth. And sometimes he would take his cloth and put it as a turban and then like naked. And Mahaprabhu, he said, Malini Devi and her husband, right? They had lost their child. So then Mahaprabhu said, okay, Nitai is like your son now. And Nitai, as a 30-year-old man, she would breastfeed him. Where's the etiquette in that? This is completely bogus. But our Guru and Vaishnavas also say, those who have pure love and those who are pure love, everything is pure. Love is pure. Only lust is dirty. Lust is contaminated. Lust is darkness. Desire to satisfy yourself, separation from God. That everything you touch becomes dirty. Everything you touch becomes polluted. Anything you think about becomes polluted. And understand love, pure love, eternal love for God and material lust are complete polar opposites. Darkness and light. But those who are clouded in their understanding may confuse the two. Because they may see the kriya and not understand the bhav. Alright? There's an activity, but then there's a mood, a desire. And bhakti is mood and activity. So anyhow, Lord Nityananda did more extra. When he was sent to preach, his preaching strategy, there was no strategy. Like, why? They would go, we hear this from our Guru Maharajas, they would just dance like madmen in one direction for a few weeks, and then when they felt like it, go the other direction. Like we do in our Gaura Arti, we run back and forth in the temple room. And it was quite silly looking. Right? If you think about it, it looks quite silly. Sometimes in Hollywood, they make fun of like Hare Krishnas, They're like, how are they just running back and forth? Swami Prabhupada, what did he teach us to do? Dress in, white robe, basically put on sheets and run around chanting the names of God. And when we're in New York City, it's very sweet because the cops are like, they like us. As we've been doing it for 60 years, so forth, and we're part of the fabric of the city. If people don't see like someone doing Sankirtan, they get sad, When people see you in the subway, they're like, oh, good, the Hare Krishnas. Because like it becomes part of the culture. Go to New York City, go to Times Square, go to the Statue of Liberty, see the Hare Krishnas. Right? It's very sweet. So anyhow, Lord Nityananda, our Guru Varga, they're all avadut. But Bhakti Devi, there's different parties. Gadadhar Pandit, very reserved. Some Vaishnavas are very reserved. Some Vaishnavas are less reserved. But everything is being dictated by Bhakti. Those who are really in touch with Bhakti, this is now going back into the Gita topic. We say the soul is not really the master or controller. Once the primary difference between the soul and God. You can say God exists, the soul exists. The Mayavadis say we're all God. We just have to forget the illusion and become God. Wake up from the dream and just be everything, be the master. Yeah, great. And lose all your existence. That's the bait and the switch. That's the bait and switch is that we're all God, you be God. And then the switch is nothing exists. Because the only way to become God is to be nothing if you are nothing, if everything is nothing. It's like it's not possible. It's not possible to be God. So they bait and switch you saying you can be God and then actually you're just nothing. And they don't tell you that in the textbooks in the beginning. Because I know a lot of Buddhists, and it's all like love, meditation, mindfulness, self-healing, self-care, self-love, marry yourself.
And then nothing.
Yeah. No, I know, because on the plane, I was seeing on Scoot Airlines, right? Scoot Airlines, there was nothing. And then there was like this one advert came on, and it was like a festival promo. And the festival promo was talking about how you can get married to yourself. And it's like, and you go in the little thing, and there's a priest, and you marry yourself, and it's self-love. This is the highest pinnacle, the highest achievement of Buddhism, until you erase yourself. And I know people who get to that final, the precipice of the erasing of yourself. And you get to that precipice, and you realize the horror of it. Because suicide, if you believe in life beyond it, it's like suicide is okay. If you're a Hindu, it's like okay. Well, if you're a Hindu, you don't do it because then you become a Buddha, and nobody wants that. But those who are an atheist, they think okay, turn it off. But it's a very horrifying thing to know that the soul is eternal, but yet I'm going to erase myself. And so you run back from it. It's horrifying. So we say if nothing exists, then that is also nothing by definition. Nothing. If nothing exists, that nothingness in its essence is nothing or non-existing. Non-existence does not exist. So that's their perspective. But we say no. God is eternal, love is eternal, the soul is eternal. The original love is between the soul and God, or as we say in Hindi, the God and soul. The God and soul. So anyhow, back to our topic. What is the difference between the soul and God? The soul is not the master, God is the master, the soul is the servant. In our tradition, it's so beautiful that God actually doesn't prefer that kind of relationship, so we say in the perfection of praying, he erases that. The only thing he erases is that he is master and we are servant. And then we come on an equal platform, and then service is to love and love is to serve. It goes up higher and higher to the pinnacle where Krishna is massaging Radharani's feet.